Hey guys, this is exciting. I know I have not been online and doing our Black art and culture videos in a while. I have to take these off because I cannot see you guys. I cannot see because I'm not reading, so I don't need those. It has been a good while since I have done Black art and culture, and today we are so excited to have an amazing group of artists that was put together by a wonderful young lady by the name of Adderley Grant Lord, who will be bringing up in a moment. And she put together this amazing exhibit, and it's a part of Black Future in Art. And I got an opportunity to be a part of that. She has been doing it now for 4 years. She started in 2021, and it is in Boulder, Colorado. She's literally been taking over Boulder, Colorado, and letting them know what's what as far as dealing with Black American artists and their work and amplifying that voice within her particular community. And I'm really excited about having her come, the founder, Adderley Grant Lord, along with some of the artists that are also represented in that particular show. It was a very powerful show at the Drewry Art Center, and right now it is in Lafayette, Colorado at the Collective, and so we're really excited about it. So I'm going to, with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Miss Adderley Grant Lord up to say hi. Hello, Adderley.
Hi, can everybody hear?
Yes, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Oh, sorry. I'm sitting over here. Yes, we can hear you. And we're excited about having you here on the show. You've been doing some amazing, absolutely amazing work in Boulder. And I would just like to, how did you get started? What prompted you to do this? Also, I just want you guys to know, those of you that are viewing, feel free to follow us, subscribe, all of that kind of stuff. Get that out now because I'm not very good at it. So, and if you have any comments, let us know. Also, while you're there, let us know where you're watching from, because we like that. Some people do that, be like, where are you watching from? So I'm going to go ahead and get that out. You can put it in the comment section, and I can always post your comments. So if you have a comment, hold it right now, because I want to talk to Adderley a little bit. But you can put your comments in, and then we can bring those up, and you can make a comment. But Adderley, I would love to know, how did you go about getting this started 4 years ago?
Well, 4 years ago, I was at the Tissa Gallery up at Noble Art District, and I was ending a show, and I asked what were they doing for Black History Month, and the answer was, what was Black History Month, which was funny. And I had to breathe there for a minute, and then I explained what it was, and then I said, well, I could do a show here for Black History Month and bring in some African American artists and sculpture into the Tissa Gallery. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I started with two other artists, with Helen and Satora. And Helen is a photographer, and Satora is a sculptor from Zimbabwe. And I already had them as artists that I would recommend and that I would showcase with me when I showcase. Mm-hmm. Whenever I have a spot, I would bring them in. And I was like, why don't we do something for Black History Month? Because Boulder had probably 2 events to go to for Black History Month. And then it's like you were done. So you go to the Martin Luther King celebration, and that was the only celebration they had. And then you go to the Freedom Fund, like I think in like later on in February, like February 20 something, and then you were done. That was it. And I had a thought that, what would it be like for my child to be able to go to comedy, music, art, anywhere about town she want for the month of February. And then I was like, why limit myself to that month? So when I ask for space, I always ask for space beyond February or January. because we normally open up for Martin Luther King birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how that came about. And then I start visiting all the art and festival and everything. And we were nowhere to be found. I probably find 2 or 3 people here or there. We were like, a diamond in the, like a diamond, simply you cannot find a diamond or a ruby anywhere in the whole of Colorado. Like it was very few, far and few between. But I knew Satoru know you, and he said, you know, Louise is doing the same thing you're trying to do. Why don't you reach out to her? And then I met you at the Denver Art Festival.
Mm-hmm.
I think I met you before that in Loveland at the Loveland Sculpture Show. And then things just got moving from there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the NAACP came to the Tissa Gallery, and Madeline said, you know, you could do this for us. And I was just like, no, I already have a plan. I already know what I wanted to do. I go, you can support me. And then when the following year came around, they were asking for, I said I had like 4 shows to do. And then they were asking for more. It was like, could you do Longmont? Could you do Erie? It was just like, could you do? I'm like, I don't know the buy-in area there, so I wasn't gonna venture out. But I did put Satoru in Longmont. I did Lafayette Cafe. First off, when we first started asking for space, everybody was like, we already planned our year. We don't have space. And then once, I think, First Congregational Church heard about we were looking for space, and they offered their space. And the moment they offered their church, it was like an avalanche. Everybody started calling back and say, oh, we have space. So then I had to find a way to fill all 5 space the second year. And we did.
Oh, wow. No, go ahead. Okay. So, and how did you go about actually finding the artists to actually fill all of these spaces? I know you said you were venturing into art shows, looking for your face, you know, looking for people to relate to a part of your culture. So how did you go about, since you had all of this space, how did you go about finding the artists to fill the space?
Well, Lidia, I showed up at Lydia's house was to drop a friend off. And the friend was like, at least you got to come and say hi. And I think I had a party. That's why I didn't go to her party. And I was like, okay, so I was dropping Khadidi off at Lydia's house. And she was like, just come in for a second. And I'm like, but I have to get back. I was like, just giving her a ride. And I step into Lydia foyer, like just at the entryway of her house. And I thought I died and went to art heaven. I was just like, I think I got broke apart and put together in one spot in that one moment in time. And I was just like, oh my God, how could she be right here under my nose and nobody knows all this art is in this house? Like, you didn't have to go any further than the door to see, because I think it was like an open forest. So you could see the living room art on the wall, and her office was right on the right-hand side when you came in the door. And I was just like, I want to live here. I was just so overwhelming. And so that's how I met Lidia. And Lidia, after that, have come to, I had an outdoor art show during COVID. It was called 8 Feet Apart Walk Up or Drive Through Art Exhibit in my front yard. So to showcase artists and it was everyone. And Lydia got invited and she came. And I was telling her how I felt about her art and that there's a shame that people can't see it. And so that's how I found Lydia. Colin got stuck here in COVID and he happened to live at my house. So I had access to his sculpture, and Colin had all his siblings are sculptures. So Tora is his niece. Then I go, what's his name now? That's showcasing with me now. Gideon. Gideon was in Arizona, and Gideon was very wide open and sharing his artwork and letting me showcase his artwork. A lot of it ended up at my house. Yeah, so that's how I found him. Thomas, I did a Juneteenth show in 21 in
Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs, and I met Thomas there. And when I was doing the first show, I think he was one of the third person that I called, and he said, "I would love to." Yeah. So it was about going to all the art exhibit and finding people art and calling them up and asking if they want to do it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So throughout this whole entire venture of creating this show and within this area, what type of obstacles did you have, or what type of obstacles were presented before you that you had to kind of overcome in a sense?
Well, the dairy art was trying to explain to me why I had to. When I first went to the dairy for the space, they said we already had Boulder Valley School District doing the art for the kids, because my pitch was that my daughter that lives in the county was having such a hard time with her identity and who she was. I mean, she was bullied at school to the point of where I had to hospital. She had to go in the hospital. So I felt like I was failing as a mother, and I wanted a space to showcase to the kids who she was and who we are. And that's how it started. The second exhibit was called "We Are Not Just History," because I wanted to showcase our excellent, Black excellent, just our excellent period. And the fact that we were descendants from greatness. And I'm like, to me, I was saying to my daughter,
I think we're having some technical difficulties. Adderley might have went out, but I'm going to go ahead and bring some of these amazing artists up while we work on that. And so I'm going to bring up Lidia, which is one of the artists that she has been talking about, and Adrian. We're going to bring her up as well. Hey, how are you guys? Hi. It is so great to have you all here with us, and being able to just share all of the different things that you guys are doing in the art world. I'm really excited about all of the different things that you guys are doing in the art world, and I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, Lidia. So this is exciting because I really enjoy your work. Adrian, you and I have crossed paths a few times, and I just want you guys to kind of share with me about just kind of sharing what was it like to be a part of the Black Future in Art event in Boulder, and why do you feel this was a significant exhibition within the Colorado area?
I don't mind starting. Thank you for having me. I got to know Adderley just like she said. She is a force of nature, and I actually did not consider myself an artist. I consider myself a collector, and I am a professional photographer. So if I had to say like, oh, I'm an artist, it would probably have been because of my photography. During COVID, I started taking lessons for art and practicing every day for drawing and collage and all of that. But then I fell in love with AI art, and I know that's controversial. Some people love it, some people hate it. But for the first year of Black Futures in Art, Adderley really wanted to focus on highlighting my personal collection of art. So I have over 200 pieces of art that I have collected from across the diaspora, from folks who, are artists here that I know, from curators who go other places, but it is all by Black folks or of Black folks. So that's the art that's in my house. And that's what Adderley really wanted to focus on. She did also, though, thinking about that futures in art piece, allow me to share some of my AI art that first year. And I thought it was really bold for Adderley to be an artist who creates by hand, and to not be afraid of sharing and showcasing AI generated art, I thought was bold and just visionary of her. And I was super appreciative.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one thing. Yeah, it's like seeing your work and understanding your work, because I was one of those people who's like, ooh, digital work, but you have some amazingly strong pieces, especially what I saw in this particular show. There was several pieces that I just really fell in love with, and how, like you were saying, you kind of in a sense migrated to that. And I think being a photographer, you felt like that's something that kind of went hand in hand going into that digital form of art.
100%. And I am a learner. So I have a doctorate, an earned doctorate, but I also just like to learn things. So anytime there's something new, I'm not just going to piddle with it. I'm going to take the classes, go all in and try to learn it. And that's what I was doing with drawing. I just figured out I'm not going to get great at that, but I enjoyed actually the being bad at it. That was just as fun as being good. But then evolving into something where my 6-word memoir is motivated by love, justice, and stories. And I see art as a form of storytelling. And so being able to convey a word or a paragraph or a concept through art, through visuals, is super powerful. And so I appreciate AI for helping me to tell stories.
Oh, okay. And so how does it, being a part of, because you're not in Boulder?
No, I lived at the time when from 2020 to 2023, I lived in Erie, Colorado.
Okay.
So right outside of Boulder.
Okay. And so how significant of an impact do you feel this particular show is for this area?
Really significant. And I want to say, when I was living in Erie, I lived on a street that was occupied by Blue Lives Matter signs on one house, and the FBI came and raided because there was an insurrectionist across the street and down the street from me on the same block. So being able to see myself represented, and in my home first of all, but then up the street and around the corner in Boulder, and just being able to go somewhere and see that everyone doesn't believe that way. That is not the sentiment of the world, and just elevating our brilliance, our perseverance, our love and joy, and our struggle, all of the things. I felt that was so important, especially during that time. We were coming out of the Trump years, going into COVID. Now we are back into another Trump era. And so I can't convey with words how important it is for our stories to continue to be told in every manner possible.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was thinking of as well. Just being able to share those stories. I remember I did an exhibit in Fort Collins, and it felt, I had people come and they said, hey, we really feel like we have a voice. And I feel like in some ways, as Black American artists, Black Americans, being able to see these kind of things actually give us, it empowers our voice in a way that other mediums cannot.
And it's just as important for white folks to see
that
as well, right? Mm-hmm. So we need to see ourselves and they need to see us. And it's important for them to see us curated by a Black woman, because often our work is co-opted by white folks and represented in the way that they want to tell our stories. But this is Adderley really being intentional and thoughtful about conveying our story for ourselves, but also for others, in a way that that is really meaningful to us.
And Adrian, I know you, I met you a few years ago and was just, just blown away with some of the work that you were doing, because you were doing some work that was actually dealing with women in general. And you're still doing work. The pieces that you had at the exhibit was absolutely phenomenal, dealing with the whole rap game and all of that kind of stuff. And I don't think people, it's me not being necessarily fluent in rapping, but I did know a few of the people that were there, which was kind of fun. But what was this for you? Because I know you are out of, originally, I met you when you were still in, what was it? Denver, over in Denver. in that general area, but then you ended up moving. But how significant was this for you? Because I met you originally doing a Black History show, curating a Black History show for the Women's Caucus, and so to be able to be here along with your culturally enriched racial sisters and brothers, what was that like? What was that like for you, and how significant was it for you to be a part of this particular show?
Yeah, it was definitely cool. I intentionally don't spend much time in Boulder, because I don't see us around much. So, I try to go to places where I feel welcome. But the collection of artists that y'all were able to pull together, I was like, half of them are friends of mine already. And so that was already, exciting. Pre-COVID, I had done the Colorado Black Arts Festival. And so I had this, very beautiful, comfortable space of just like, okay, once a year, I'm going to be surrounded by Blackness and Black art. And COVID hit. And so, that went on pause. And then I got into murals. And so I actually haven't participated in the festival in a number of years. And that was kind of like, so doing that show at the Dairy, it was almost like a mini Black Arts Festival in a sense, except not out in the beating sun. The snow was not playing around that night, but, burning my So yeah, no, it was a beautiful opportunity, and it was funny because you mentioned having met me a few years ago off Santa Fe Drive. We were in Santa Fe at the show of the Women's Caucus at, I think, Spark Gallery, or no, sorry, Dart. It's the new spot, right? Yeah. Dart. Yeah. Thomas, I had met Thomas in 2012, 13 at the Black Festival. And so, we were neighbors, and then we just keep running into each other. Yaz, I've worked with making murals. And so see all those folks again in that setting. It was just a beautiful thing. And then to see everybody's work on the walls and new artists that I didn't know before. It was a fantastic experience.
Share with me a little bit about the exhibit that you had there. I thought that was pretty phenomenal, because you rarely ever see something that's dedicated to that industry, and then pulling from all of the women that are in that industry, because as you know, as women, we're constantly struggling for that visibility. And so, and I'm definitely in the rap industry.
Yeah, I mean, I was a kid in the Bronx in the 80s. And so,
Mhm.
when hip hop was starting to come up, I was in New York. That's where a lot of it was taking place. And we would hear it on the radio. Kids in my class had more access to me, and so they would be talking about like who they were listening to and all this other stuff. Mostly it was the guys, like the Two Live Crew and all them. But, I eventually moved to New Mexico. I was in Las Vegas, New Mexico, which was very far from all of that. And so it was a number of years. It was really when we got satellite that I had access again to hip hop, and I, absolutely loved it. It was anything that I could find on MTV. I was listening to it. But then I started seeking out music that I wanted to listen to, and I was the most fascinated by the women. I was listening to MC Light. I was listening to Queen Latifah. I was listening to Salt and Pepper. And so these were the women whose words shaped my adolescence in a lot of really important ways. Learning how to stand up for yourself, right? Queen Latifah, who you calling a bitch with UNITY. Salt and Pepper, talking about sexuality. And at the time, there was a lot of conversations around safe sex because we were at the tail end of the AIDS epidemic. Um, and so for me, as somebody who was kind of coming of age growing up, the kinds of things that they were talking about, kind of really shaped how I started thinking about the world, how I started seeing the world, how I started interacting with the world. And, some of those artists remain favorites of mine. And so, I've been doing this Women in History thing. My first series I called Women Behaving Badly, and I still kind of call anything that I do a part of that series. And I realized that, there's not a lot of folks that know a great deal about the women of hip hop. Um, so I started painting the series. There's a burger place in Albuquerque, which is where I live now, called Fat Stacks, and it's like all hip hop themed. And like even the owner, who is like, oh, a hip hop head, this dude is like into hip hop music, can quote you all kinds of records or whatever. Like when I started naming some of the women that I intended to paint, he's like, oh, I don't actually know much about her. So I'm like, dang, this guy is like in it and he still doesn't know. So it felt extra important for me to showcase these individuals. Uh-oh, now I can't hear you. I hope you were able to hear me this whole time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just didn't
Oh,
unmute.
okay. Oh no.
I just didn't unmute, but it was just I just think it was really phenomenal to actually experience that particular exhibit and the writings and the passion that went along with it. And I want to bring Lidia back because I want to that's the one thing I didn't kind of explore with Lidia is the just the base around her artwork and what that artwork what it represented and the significance of it. And I would like to hear that. But I thought your exhibit was just so profound in the fact that it's like you said, a lot of those women we rarely hear, and being in such a male dominated field, to see these voices of these women coming. And because I feel like it's almost like they're, oh, go ahead. You were going to say
Yeah,
something?
yeah, no, one more thing that for somehow I forgot to mention. My intention is to actually turn these into a deck of trading cards.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
the ones that I showcased, those are the 19 that I've painted so far. My
Mm-hmm.
list consists of about 77. And
Okay.
so in addition to the original paintings on the wall, I also showed mock-ups for the card, and that's how you were able to get the extra information. So that those more graphic designy elements, like those are
Mm-hmm.
like the other card.
Okay. That's what I saw. The that was on there. When do you think you'll have those cards ready?
Yeah. What I would love is for somebody to pay me to do them. That would be fantastic. I have not met that person yet, or entity. So yeah, that's the thing, right? 'Cause it's 19 designs, and then I have to multiply 19 designs by however many cards, and so
Mhm.
the numbers are starting to creep up in a way that's a bit uncomfortable right now. So I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure you'll get them. They'll happen. But I did want to just come back to Lidia a little bit and just understanding the significance of your work and the power behind it, because there is a definite motif through your work when I see it. So just understanding, can you just share a little bit about that, about the work that you presented?
Sure. So this year for the space between us, I was talking with Adderley about I think I may have shared 7 pieces, and 4 of them were half of, I think 6 or 7, but half I had already done. And when Adderley spoke about what she was trying to convey in this year's exhibit, she and I talked through some of the pieces that I have done either in 2022 or 2023, AI pieces that I had that really kind of spoke to the theme. And then because of the time that we're in, and I was talking about my education. My background is in education and in early childhood education in particular. And that is where I do all of my day job. And so when I was thinking about pieces to create for this year, like and for the exhibit, and with all of early learning being under siege because of our new administration, I was really thinking about the space between children who are marginalized because of our choices and the American dream. And so all of those pieces where you see, the Black child or the Black woman and some element of the flag around, surrounding that person, that is really what I was like thinking about, because the really important work of ensuring that children have a high quality education is it's at risk. And so that started November 7th or whatever day election day was last year. And so that's like top of mind for me all the time. You are muted again.
Okay, so yeah, it's like I got to push my mute button because I don't know, my husband's hammering something. So, but I just want to acknowledge that Thomas Lockhart has walked into the building. Hello, Thomas. It's great to have you here with us. And just looking forward to hearing all of the amazing things that you're doing, because I know you're doing some pretty amazing things. And one of the things that we're sharing here today is just about what it's like to be a part of Black Future in Art. What drew you to wanting to be a part of Black Future in Art with Adderley? I know Adderley is amazing at pulling artists together and just kind of looking at ways that that kind of drew you into being a part of Black Future in Art to participate in the art that you do.
Yes. Good evening, everybody. Good to see you all. And I got drawn in from our connection from Colorado Springs, actually. The Juneteenth show, and so our connection from there. And she called me up and was telling me about the first event that she was going to do, and I said, yeah, I would definitely be happy to be a part of it. Just the camaraderie between the artists and seeing the amazing work. And of course, always getting to display your work is always wonderful, that someone wants to see it. And so her ideas, her concepts, being able to bring us into a space where, as Audrey was talking about, that is not a lot of us there, but having them to be able to see and appreciate the work that we do. And it seems like we come in, we bring our work, and people are like, wow, these are the best exhibits here I've seen, which has been wonderful, of us expressing our culture, our lifestyle, our history, and being able to have these on display so people from many cultures and many other people could see. For so many years, we definitely have been marginalized, not being able to be in the same spaces as a lot of other cultured artists from many different avenues and groups, to see that we create and can create just as, and many times even better than the work that you see from other artists. So it's wonderful to be a part of the shows and the surroundings, so people could see this is what we can do too as well. That we're not like second class. We are absolutely grade A, first class artists, and we show the work that we do, and we've been able to prove that we do put out some wonderful caliber work.
Mm-hmm. So how did you select the work for this show? How did you select what you were going to put in the show? I know Adderley had a theme, but how did you go about selecting or choosing what you wanted to present?
I think, as being a diverse artist, I picked a number of pieces from different subject groups. One of the pieces that I had was called Way to Fly. And that's, I guess, maybe one of my pieces that I really like a lot. And it's a piece where most of the images that I do are forward facing, do a lot of figurative pieces and a lot of faces. And this particular piece, the man is facing the other direction. So you only see the back of his head. And he has a large wing that is coming out of his ear. And the piece calling Way to Fly, he's saying that, I know who I am, and I don't have to wait for your approval of who I am and where I'm going, because I know that my future is bright and I have an amazing aspect to my life. So that was the premise of that particular piece, that it was like, I don't need the approval of other people. I'm already fully confident in who I am. So the Way to Fly piece. And then a number of the other pieces, I had a biblical piece, 3 women, just based on the Bible, and just about different elements of the Bible. These 3 women were nude, and it was just talking about how God sees us, without our mask on, and with who we are as people. And so those were some of the things. And pieces like The Overflow, just talking about our creativity and our imagination, being able to take hold and be able to show the different creativity aspects of what we do, bringing in a little bit of jazz history of the elements of music and things that we have been involved in since the beginning of time. So yeah, that was kind of like the aspect of the images that I wanted to show. And then some of the creativity with the button down beauty. So using different textures and elements and stuff to put to show the images that I put together. So.
You're mute.
Like, I haven't done this, I haven't been back on the interview sector in a little bit. So I'm always like forgetting to push my mute off. And so there, but thank you all for letting me know, because some people will just be like, so this question is for all of you. One of the things that I'm always kind of amazed with when we do art shows, or we're brought into art shows, is understanding our value and who we are, and looking at one of the things that I'm constantly trying to push is our art is art, just like everybody else's art, and not trying to look at it as, oh, this is Black art. So one of the things I'm always putting into my writings is Black American artist as opposed to Black art. How do you guys feel about that? Because I know when I used to go out and do art shows, I would literally have people come into my booth and ask me if I had Black art. Me. You all see me? Okay. So I just wanted to. So what is your thought on that of how, because my thing is our job is also to teach and to instruct and to bring about this change, to change this narrative. So what are your thoughts on that? Don't all speak at once.
Yeah, I would say, for so many years, when you look at art and you look at different cultures outside of the abstract space, you're seeing each culture represent their culture.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's art by white person or art by an Asian person or art by somebody from a different type of descent, even African and Caribbean. They draw where they're from and their
Mm-hmm.
culture and what they see. And so for us to be in America and them, would ask us like these particular questions, it's like, well, we're drawing from a portion of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of like, do you want us to draw all pictures of everybody else that we see? And we add in, because of some of the things that many of us been through in our ancestors, we're drawn from those types of things too as well.
Mm-hmm.
If we grew up in a culture where it was the opposite of what we have been dealing with for so many years, we probably wouldn't draw so many different things of historical aspects. But I'm pretty sure that we still would.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us draw from history. Some people draw from trauma. Some people draw from the love of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that all reflects in the work that we have. And sometimes some people are just not used to it. It's just because if they would have put us in a bigger playing field early on, everybody would be used to it.
Right.
But when you hardly see it,
Mm-hmm.
when people see it, it's a different type of draw.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
I want to double click on what Thomas just shared as a collector, primarily, that I want to see Black people. I want to see Black faces, Black bodies, Black experience reflected on my walls. When people come into my house, I want them to see various techniques that are all, ubiquitous, but the subject is Black folks,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so in that way, it doesn't bother me to hear that it's Black art, because that's what I want to consume. That's
Right.
what I want to create in AI. And in particular, working in AI, it is so hard to get it to create Black folks, because the default is white or bright.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you get a Black person, they look mixed, or they are, like very light skinned, similar features across colors. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to do a lot of work to get AI to create the diversity of skin tone and features that we have. And so I want to highlight that is what I'm looking for. That's
Mm-hmm.
what I'm asking it to do, is Blackness, not, everything to everybody, or, you know, colorblind society. Like, no, I want to see me. And so I just do, I understand the sentiment that art is art, and I believe that. And the techniques, and you can go to art school here and go to art school there, and you're going to learn the same techniques, but how you're applying it, the context, the stories, the perspectives that are informing it, similar to what Thomas was talking about, that's what makes it Black art for me.
Well, I guess I could go next. For me, I get the opposite of what you got, Louise, where they ask you the question, do you do Black art? I get asked, who is the artist, while I'm standing in my booth with my because I do abstract and surrealism. It's like I should not be in this territory at all. This territory belongs to someone else, and I will say, that's mine. I did it, and then 5 minutes later, the same person would turn around and ask me the next painting if it's mine. So I've had an occasion where I stopped the whole gallery, and I from that corner to this corner, everything that have color in it belongs to me. And then everybody was like, okay. Like the girl next to me was just like, why don't we switch booths and see if they'll still ask you if the art over here is yours? So I've gotten the opposite, and I've gotten from doing Black Future in art, I've gotten where I go to space and they say, we want your art, but the Black Future in art is going to make our customer uncomfortable. And that was a big thing in Boulder when it happened. And it happened with an organization that was trying to actually correct something they had did us wrong. Me and my friends were there dining and everything. A fire alarm went off. We left with the whole crowd. They asked us to go outside. The fire department comes, and everybody's standing outside with their wine glass. We're still waiting to have a good time. And I get tapped on the shoulder to come back and pay the bill. In the middle of the alarm still blurring. There are people in bathrobes that came down from the hotel. So they were trying to, I said, if you want to do something to fix this, I was supposed to showcase in your thing. I would rather do Black Future in art. And they agree. We set the time, we had the conference, and one of the director keeps saying, could you send us the picture? I was like, well, here is what I did at the dairy. You can see what I'm doing. This is what I've done here. These are the artists. These are the show. But you know how you have that gut feeling that something is wrong? My belly was just saying, okay, I'm rolling a little bit too much with this conversation. And he asked for the image them one time too many, because I say I don't normally give people, I don't know what's going to end up in the show. I don't normally give the venue people a choice of what I hang on the wall. Either you accept us or you don't. I'm going to decide what hanging on the wall, because it's our art, it's our show. And that's the reason for the space. That's the reason why you're making the space. It's because this is new to you. You have closed the door to us for so long. So I had that conversation, but something just said, you know what? In my heart too, I got to ask God for forgiveness for this, but I said, I'm going to set him up. And I sent one of Thomas painting with the white baby in the Black mom arm, and it says white only and the other breast. And then I sent one with, then I put my joyous abstract right below it, and then I add another one of Thomas, and I added a few pieces that I know if they're not disturbed by this, I'm about to see who they are. And to my disappointment, they showed up exactly who they were. They said, oh, we want to do your, we would love to do your art, but Black Future and art, I don't think our clientele would like that. The word was uncomfortable. So that whole thing went all the way to the NAACP. It became a topic in town. So much so that they showed up, they were in the room when they were having a conversation about how African American are treated in the community. And someone on their panel was talking about, Yvette was on the panel and she was talking about what happened to me. And I was sitting there and I did not realize I was still mad. Boy, was I pissed. I got up and I told them I give them my money every Thursday night and every Friday night. And then I was asked to come to the front door while my mother come to the back door. That's what you're telling me. I was good enough for the painting I was doing, but I can't bring my history with me. I can't bring my culture with me. I cannot bring my family with me because my family were African American. And I guess everybody in the audience know the hotel was there and they were waiting for him. The room just stood still. And by this time, I think I was boohooing because I was like, you treated me like crap. And then you turn around and then put icing on top of the crap again while you were trying to invite me back in. So it was a big thing. So for my art, I think also too, that's why I wanted to bring everybody else with me, because they have a way of dismissing me as the island girl. And I'm like, you're missing. I come with a clan and I was going to bring my clan. And I wanted my clan to have the spaces. It was a punch. I want them to see exactly who they are. And some places showed up exactly who they are. If you put the right piece of art in front of a person's face, you will get them. They will open up so wide without they're aware that they're opening up all the prejudice towards you. And they'll ask the most silly question. Like how did I, well, a piece of one of Thomas' painting and one of my painting accidentally, well, not accidentally, actually end up naming the same, which was the overflow, which was my overflow of when I walk into a room. So you get questions from people like, did you plan it? I go, it's in us. It's in us, and it will forever flow out of us. Even in the abstract, it will flow out of us. So, but so, yeah, mute.
Yeah, that's I got. That's I got that one. That's the whole thing is like listening to and understanding the conversation and looking at things in that sense is like being able to honor our heritage and be a part of our heritage within our work. Because it's just like you said, when people would come up to me and ask me if I had Black art, and I would just be like, I think everything that comes out of me would be considered a part of my cultural heritage. And it doesn't matter what my art might look like. There are aspects within my work that will show my cultural heritage. It's like, and it's the same thing with abstract. And one of the things that I look at is, as us, it's like we're artists, because I always look at things in a curatorial, institutional aspect of, okay, don't just label it Black art and then push it to the side as if it's not a part of the whole. And that's the whole thing. It's like looking at our art as a whole. It's like we're a part of a whole. It's like, yes, it's just like any other art. When you look at Renaissance art, it's from that period. And so all of that art looks the same. Romanticism, all of that art is it's depicted out of an era and a period. And it's the same thing with our art, but that doesn't make it any less art. And so a lot of times I encounter that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm always like, pushing the artist as opposed to the like when I say Black American, because I want you to know it's like these aren't just, it's not just Black art. These are Black American artists that are creating this amazing art. And so looking at it in that way and moving forward, what do you guys feel is it's almost like the next step, even with Black Future in Art? And where can we go now to even cement that thing into our culture? Because that's one of the things that I'm always looking, how do we educate? How do we continue? How do we keep that ball going so that it's not, because I feel like there's always somebody trying to put the cap back on the box. It's like, okay, we let a little bit out, but too much. So, you know, go ahead.
Well, that would be, I guess this is the time for all of you guys to be aware of this. So Black Future in Art at the Dairy. Well, Dairy is our I would say is our flagship spot, because that's where we decided we were going to start open up first. So it's our flagship opening. uh, okay, I guess I'm going to say this out loud. So we're planning for next year. When they decided to give us the upper platform.
The Adderley. Let me let Adrian, because I want to hear what you're about to say, and then I want to get Adrian's thought, and then you come back in with what you're about to say, because I know what you're about to say. Okay. So let me go ahead.
Look out for what you just said, like
right. No, because we're gonna end with that. So I want Adrian to go ahead.
Yeah. We make our own spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, like, to me, I think that's the thing that has to happen. I feel like anytime that we try to, ask somebody to make room for us, they're going to make as much room as they want to make. When we make room for ourselves, we get all the room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I've been to some dope spaces. Like, for years, I was showing a coffee at the Point. And I know for some people, they're like, oh, but, galleries are where it's at. Nah, dude, good coffee shop where the people meet up, where the community that you want to serve shows up every day. That's for me. That's my jam. Showing up at the Colorado Black Arts Festival, that was my jam. That was for us, by us. Any space that, I think that we can just center ourselves. Like, I was just at the Museum for Black Girls last month. Phenomenal space. It was hella Black. Everybody in there. Maybe two who were not, And so, but we got to do our thing our way, uncensored, unedited. And so for me, I'm not really interested in infiltration. I'm interested in creating spots where we are welcome, where we find what we are looking for, where we get to be 100% ourselves and without having to censor. That's my jam.
Oh, do I go now?
Yes, go, Adderley.
Oh, so and I get that, Adrian, but when you have a child that's like 9 from age like 7, and you live within a community that she feels marginalized and she does not have representation here, for the kids that are coming after her, she's now in college, but for the kids that are here, and I mean, I don't know how many of you have seen This Is Not Who We Are by Katrina. That movie, there was a little girl in that movie that she was basically experienced something that my daughter experienced, and the identity within the community we live in. I wanted our our African American kids to have spaces here where they could see themselves, so they could get to their day and finding their own identity. It's easy for me because I knew who I was from day one, so I could go into any space and push the door open and the window, and I'm not so concerned about what everybody else around me is doing or thinking in that aspect. But for this generation, I'm seeing the younger kids are really suffering to the point of where their identity is not, they don't have a foundation where they could say, it's not about me, it's about you. They kind of internalize it. And I had a child I watched wanted to commit suicide. So that scared me to death. And I didn't want another mother to feel the way I felt. So that's why if we're going to live within this community, which I live in, I needed to make space for her and for the other little girls that were coming behind her. So that's why I'm not tolerating that you're going to cap spaces. I'm paying tax in the community, so I should be able to inherit everything else everybody else is inheriting here. So for that is why I make space. And like we were talking about the capping, is that, and I will push back against the cap because that's just who I am. And is that the dairy art have been told this is the best show. We have gotten that over and over. We got it that when we were in the small room. And then everybody was like, at the dairy, the employees was like, it would be great if you were up on the upper level. And I go, I don't want the upper level. I want the whole upper level, because the upper level is the main gallery that they would consider. But I was like, no, I want all the other walls. I want the whole thing. This is not, we're not sharing Black History Month and Martin Luther King birthday with anybody. I want the whole kitchen caboodle. And they agreed to give me the whole kitchen caboodle. But now they're seeing where the art that's been there, and this is my perspective, is so overpowerful. It was so powerful that anything that comes after it, are the things that was before it, are following it. People are coming in and saying, oh, when did you guys remove the art? When is Black Future in Art come back? So they're getting that now, where Black Future in Art is now being looked forward to by so much of the community. I'm not so sure they were ready for what it did. And this is where they are working, where the timeline from where we open on January 17th to the end of March is being cut back. But with that cutback, I always say you're setting me up for a bigger comeback. And my thing is now to look for space that trumps the dairy. Because I know the dairy don't want to lose Black Future in Art, because Black Future in Art is presenting, is giving them the front runner of the ones that are promoting the art. There is not another place in town that quite have done that yet. So I'm working on the timeline, because at this point, like we said before, when we talked about the art make people uncomfortable, we got the celebration, but I this time I'm feeling like they want to put a cap on us, like put us back in the bottle, because we open up a space now where everybody's asking about the event that are coming up for next year. And for them is to shorten our time to like basically like 4 weeks. Black History Month supposed to take place on the 19th of February. That's not happening. I will move the hub to another location. And the other location that I just looked at is much better than the dairy art. But the thing is that most people don't know, I negotiate the dairy art for us as the Dairy Art Center. Every other artist that goes in there give up 40% of whatever the art is. So and I think, I don't know, yeah, Thomas knows that. I think a lot of you guys know that the dairy art going rate for any artist that showcase there, the percentages, they get 40. My negotiation for wherever I go is that you don't take any money from us. And I've negotiated that with them. Plus that this coming year we'll do a grant, but I'm fighting for the time and the books. So those are where obstacles come in and people want to put you back in the box. But I'm not going back in the box. And I know I'm not going back in the box, because Louise could probably talk to the fact that we started up in that small room, and I guess Louise and Lidia and Thomas and Lidia has been from the beginning when we first did the first show at the dairy. I paid for everything. But now, and I got to appreciate the fact that now they pick up all the advertisement and everything. They'll like, I'll partner with you and do that. But I'm not breaking the contract. I'm not going to go back on a contract that I already achieved. So, and it's to get spaces for us that are comfortable for us and is well supportive for us.
Right. Yeah. And so that's why I wanted you to kind of, because they are looking at doing something a little different with your particular exhibit. And so with this being your exhibit, and then we're going to have to close because we've already hit our hour. But this has been amazing. I really enjoyed having you guys here, and I'm hoping at another point I'll be able to bring you all on as individual artists, because I would love to just hear more of your stories and more about you, and then be able to give you just an individual platform and show some of your work as well, because I would love to be able to do that with you guys. But my last question is to share, allow each of you to kind of share what you would like people to take away. What would you like someone to take away from this particular conversation, as well as this particular exhibit that centers around who we are as individuals, as people, as a culture? So we can start with Lidia, and then if I don't have your website, can you just throw it in the chat for me so that I could put it up with you? So we're going to go ahead and start with Lidia, and then we'll go from there.
I think that this entire arc of conversation is really indicative of the U.S. and where we are now, that we gain and we lose, and we gain some more and we lose a little bit. And what I believe Black Futures in Art has demonstrated over the years that it's been in place and will continue is the persistence, the excellence, the beauty, the joy, the love that accompanies us as we travel this journey toward equality, or freedom and justice for all, which has been elusive. But we can be free in our art. We can find justice there. We find the love, the joy, and everything that really embodies who we are as a people. We can see that in these representations that folks create. And Adderley has just done an amazing job of bringing together really talented folks who show us in all of our glory. And so I'm really excited to be a part, and grateful that our story is represented there so beautifully.
Thank you so much, Lidia, for sharing. And I did share Lidia's website. So if you guys want to learn more about Lidia and her work, you could definitely go to I Imagine, or how do you say that?
imagineart./AI.
Okay. It's like, I imagine. I'm like, okay, it's not imagine because there's no EI in there, but I'm just going to let you guys say your own, so I'm not messing it up. But yes, Lidia, thank you so much, especially for those words, because I think those are very important. So Thomas, I'm going to go ahead and let you go ahead and share as well.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's definitely important for us to continue to celebrate the work that we do, and to continue to grow with the work and grow with our culture, and to be able to display our work in many different places. It seems at this time we cannot ask to be at the table. I was just thinking about what a great name for a gallery, called The Table, where we're not asking for a seat at the table because we own the table. So I think that it's important for us to continue to show and to cultivate the beauty of who we are, and not be ashamed of that. And just like anybody else would show the work that they do and that they're proud of, we're all proud of the work that we do and proud of who we are. And so there's no reason to be ashamed. We can't be put back in the box because Jack is already in the box. There's not enough room for both of us. So yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you, Thomas. That was great. I love that. It's like Jack's not going back in the box, y'all. Okay. All right. All right, Adrian, we're gonna go ahead and get you up here. Let you share.
Thing that I want to share is everything that we create is based on the experience that we have had as a people who are oppressed. And the thing that is magic about us is that we take that oppression, we turn it into gold. Always have. Every art form that is considered American art was ours first. And so, they can keep us out of space, but they can't stop us from sharing our joy and for celebrating and doing. So it is what it is. We are here to do what we do. And so that's it. Just doing what you do, moving forward.
Thank you so much. All right, so we're gonna get Miss Adderley down here.
Well, for that, I say what I find is that as an artist and as my as being a founder, and the curator for the show, one thing I find that pierces my heart every time, and I'm not being prejudiced because I get you guys art and I get to like rearrange it and do it my way versus coming into your exhibit. I have to tell you, your work that I have seen have inspired me to do my own. And also is that I am glad that my daughter is witnessing the fact that there are so many African Americans out here, so many black people out here that have abilities that are not being put on museum wall, that they're not being seen. And this is the reason for I want it to be seen across. I want us to be known for our excellent that we are, not the excellent that they this decided to show. So we have to be our own storyteller, and that's the purpose of Black Future in Art. Is emotionally provoking. It's not empty art on a wall. It's actually have a way of triggering the viewer into places within themselves that they're not even aware of. And the fact that I have the ability to showcase you guys' art, it's always like made me feel a little bit more mightier at the end of the day than I wake up in the morning with, because the quality, the volume, just everything about us, we have a crown that nobody want to see. And when I put you guys out in the room, and just imagine, I mean, we walked the dairy out, we walked the space between us. And not one of you could say, I don't think there was one piece of art in that show that a person said they didn't like or they weren't touched by. So I think we just need to keep going, and and that is where we build our table. That's a table that's not been available to us. And that's the table where any one of us could pull up a chair at.
So Adderley's creating a folding table that we can take around. And
Are you kidding me?
That's right. Adderley's creating a folding table. So you just take it all around and things like that. And so, but I just want to thank you guys because your words are very powerful. And sometimes I don't think we always understand our power of being who we are. And I just want to continually encourage each and every one of you that you will take that with you. And it's not just, the power is not just for you, but it's for everyone around you. Our jobs are not just to just for ourselves, but to empower each other and continually empower each other. I enjoy working with Adderley. Adderley and I have done several things together, and it's always a lot of fun. And I feel like we definitely bounce off of each other. And I feel that same connection with, you know, when Thomas and I work together. Actually, Thomas is our featured artist for the Beauty of Blackness Fine Art Show this year, which we're really, really excited about. We do have, let me see. What is this? Somebody did put something, Black cultural defines the rhythm of the world. Wow. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love that comment. Thank you so much. And so just wanting to let you guys know how amazingly powerful your voices are, how amazingly powerful your art is. And I just literally enjoy being in the presence of other artists that are creating, but not just creating art, but creating a culture. And that's how I look at it. It's like we're in the midst of us creating artwork, we're creating a culture. And being here in Colorado, we are pushing that culture forward and allowing other people to be a part of it. And that's the beauty of what we're doing. And I'm grateful to Adderley and her vision. And thank you so much for sharing that with the world. And allowing the world, as I will put it this way, allowing the world to be a part of that, being a part of your culture and being a part of what you're doing. So thank you very much. And we are going to sign out. You guys are absolutely amazing. It's been so much fun to actually be able to interview the artists from Black Future in Art. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to do this more. Like I said, I haven't done interviews in a while, but this was exciting and fun. And it's my kickoff for my next series of interviews. Adderley, did you have something to say? I saw your finger.
Yeah, no, I was going to say that this was a test run for us to be able. Me and Louise already talked about we're a test run for us. So this will be a Black Future in the art in the future of us coming together like this and have conversation. So
yeah, she put me on notice to, she wants some interviews. Everybody's always trying to get them interviews in. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm going to go ahead and close out the session. So I'm going to go ahead and thank you guys. This has been absolutely amazing. I love when artists come together, and I'm talking about powerful stories, because these artists all have really powerful stories. And please, by all means, go and visit their websites. They have some amazing artwork. I'm just going to go ahead and run through. Well, you know, this is all a part of the Beauty of Blackness Fine Art Show. You can, if you want to see this interview, if you didn't see all of it, you can actually visit us on our YouTube channel, which is Beauty of Blackness Fine Art Show. That's our YouTube channel. Definitely go by and check out that YouTube channel and pull it up and go ahead and subscribe, like all of that good stuff. This is also a part of the Beauty of Blackness Fine Art Show. Go by and check out the website. And the website is www.TBOBFAS.com. Go by and check that out. But I also want you to stop by and visit all of these artists. Adrian's art is at Afro, you know, that. Triangle.com. I see her down there giving me a triangle. Thank you, Adrian. And then we also have Thomas Lockhart Galleries, which is lockhartgalleries.com. Make sure you go by and check him out. Adderley, adderleyart.com. Go by and check her out. And we also have, I imagine, there we go. .art/AI. Make sure you go and check all of their artwork out, because these are some amazing artists. They're doing some great work. I'm really excited about being a part of working with them, and hopefully to bring them even closer together and do some other things with them. So be on the lookout for that. And I'm just going to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been absolutely phenomenal. Thanks a lot. And